Hello and welcome to Doctor Who in Mind. I'm Stephen, I'm a Doctor Who fan, and I also suffer from depression. And those are the two topics I cover in my videos. First depression, then Doctor Who. A bit later in the video, I'll be talking about Doctor Who, of course, but now I'm just going to leave you in the hands of my slightly younger self earlier this morning.
So here I am, I'm out on the local common. It's home to about 30 horses. They're heading towards me at the moment, which I'm not entirely happy about. Oh, it stopped, okay. I'm a bit nervous of horses, but these generally don't bother anybody. There's a public footpath which goes right through the common, and it's, humans and horses can exist happily together here. Anyway, I'm out today on my walk. I like to take a walk of about 1,500 steps per day on my days off. It's actually almost a week. Hello, horsey. Ooh, hello. Ooh. Yeah, I'll let you pass. It's actually about a week since I last walked any kind of distance at all. Excuse me, my last days off before today were Wednesday and Thursday. Well, on Wednesday I had a good long walk, but on Thursday my depression was quite bad, so I just stayed at home. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they were all work days. So I'm out and about today trying to make up for a bit of the exercise I've lost. I'm on about 7,500 steps today, about halfway through my walk. And I listed the other day, when I made my last video, I listed the sort of 3 things that were essential on my bad days. And I wish I could add going to a walk to that list. But the trouble is, when I feel bad, I just don't feel like going for the walk at all. So that's one of the annoying things about depression. People say to you, oh, go out and do such and such, it'll do you good. But of course, on the days when you are feeling down, the things that will do you good are things you are pretty much totally incapable of doing. So you sort of have to do them. Do yourself some good on the days when you're feeling good already, if you see what I mean. I'm not sure if it works like charging up a battery, sort of charge up on the good days, and on the bad days just do whatever you can. I'll leave the horses now, and I'll just lead you on the main footpath. So this morning, I was actually going to do this video this morning, but I was very tired when I woke up, and it's now, what time is it? It's about, it's 20 to 4 now in the afternoon. It's Monday, it's Bank Holiday Monday, August Bank Holiday, and I'm a bit behind with what I'm doing. As I record this segment, I've actually not rewatched the relevant Doctor Who episode yet, which is going to be the Witchfinders. I'll be talking about that later. So when I get home after finishing this video, I shall rewatch the Witchfinders, which I think by default will make it the most watched Jodie Whittaker episode so far for me, just because I've seen it one more time than any of the others. And then I'll record my thoughts about it, and I shall see you after that. Hope you enjoyed this glimpse of the countryside in my local area. Okay, I'll hand you back over to myself.
Okay, you know what's coming now. It's time to talk about Doctor Who. I've got the Doctor in my hat. I'm gonna have to stay very, very, very still, or she'll fall out and go splat. And she's still there. Okay, well, today I'm going to be talking about The Witchfinders from 2018. A story towards the end of Jodie Whittaker's first series. Now, as this is the first Jodie Whittaker story that's come up in my random selection, I think it's worth just spending a few moments talking about my attitude to Jodie Whittaker's Doctor and my attitude to there being a female Doctor in general. And you'll be pleased to hear, I hope you'll be very pleased to hear, I'm not one of those people who dislikes Jodie Whittaker. You're not going to hear any of that ranting and raving that you get from the people who can't accept a female Doctor and seem to want to take it out on Jodie Whittaker for some bizarre reason. Having said that, though, I wasn't always in favour of a female Doctor, far from it. Even 10 years ago, if you'd asked me, would I think it's a good idea for a woman to play the Doctor? I'd have said no. I was completely opposed to there being a female Doctor right up until the point when I wasn't opposed. And I think the only reason I was opposed to it because it had never been tried before. And once Stephen Moffat, in particular, started to write things into Doctor Who that paved the way for the female Doctor, became more and more relaxed and comfortable with the idea. Like any change in the show, really, I don't like it until it's official. If you see what I mean, it's a bit of a weird thing to say, but once we've got Missy, I was absolutely fine with that. And of course, then we saw in one of Peter Capaldi's episodes, we saw a Time Lord in a male body degenerate into a female body, so that was fine. That established it. So, like I say, once it was in the show's continuity, no problem with me. And I stopped falling back on my rather tired explanation for why I didn't want a female Doctor. I used to say, well, there could be a female Doctor when there's a male Miss Marple. It's not the same thing at all, is it? But it's what I used to say. And I remember seeing a poll in Doctor Who magazine, that may have been 10 years ago or more, I'm not sure, where 2/3 of respondents didn't want to see a female Doctor. But anyway, but plenty of time before Jodie Whittaker was announced, I was happy with the idea before she was announced. And when she was announced, absolutely fine. I mean, she was... I can't say I was excited about the fact it was Jodie Whittaker, because I'd be lying if I said I'd even heard of her before she got the role, because I hadn't. But that's nothing new. I'd never heard of Matt Smith before he got the part. I don't think I'd even heard of David Tennant before he got the part. So Doctors appearing from nowhere was not new ground for me. So I went into her era with an open mind, and I thoroughly enjoyed it so far. There's only one Jodie Whittaker era story that I will really be swinging the hatchet at when it comes up in the random selection, and that's nothing to do with Jodie Whittaker's performance. I just don't like this particular story. But when that one comes up, we'll deal with it then. But we'll park that to one side now and go back to The Witchfinders. Now, I rewatched The Witchfinders, today, just before I came on camera to make this video. And I liked it at the time it was broadcast in 2018, but I like it even more now. I was actually surprised by quite how impressive it is, both visually and in the acting performances. Now, this is the third story set in the past in Jodie Whittaker's first series. I mean, first we have Rosa, which almost everybody acclaims an instant classic. then later in the mid-season, we've got Demons of the Punjab, which sort of competes with those in everybody's affections. I mean, me too. I mean, depending on what mood I'm in, I might put those that bit above Demons of the Punjab, or it might be the other way around. Sort of on a par, there's both been very strong sort of pseudo historical stories. So then this third one, Jodie came along, the Witchfinders. It's obviously set much further back in the past than the other two are. I mean, the other two are essentially the same time period. I mean, one's 1950s, and the other one's late 1940s. So different parts of the world, but much the same in time period and attitudes. So this one, I feel the Witchfinders gets overshadowed by the other two, and I think it gets a bit forgotten, although it shouldn't be, because it is a very strong story with, like I say, good direction, good cast. I mean, the two main guest stars, obviously, you've got Siobhan Finneran playing Becca, that's a wonderful performance. She's one of the best villains in recent years. Then you've got Alan Cumming as King James. Now, any show that hires Alan Cumming for the role, I mean, they know precisely what they're going to get, and he delivers what you'd expect. It's a good performance, but it's Alan Cumming being Alan Cumming, really. I mean, I can accept him as King James, but there's no getting away from the fact it's just Alan Cumming in a wig and a beard. But good, it's good for what it is. But for me, there's a third standout guest performance, and that's actually Tilly Steele as Willa. She really shone for me this afternoon when I rewatched the show. It's a very subtle performance. I mean, she doesn't get all the sort of ranting, raving, sort of more charismatic lines that the other two guest stars get. But it's a really nicely, finely judged performance, and she finds herself in a difficult position. She instinctively trusts the Doctor, but she fears Becca, her cousin Becca, and King James. So at one point, you can see how torn the character is when she's forced to betray the Doctor just for the sake of her own survival. And luckily, she comes through the story, and it is absolutely fine at the end. The other thing I like about this story, another thing, not the other thing, there's plenty I like, but another thing I like about the story is the bleakness of the setting. It's I looked this up online. Apparently, it was shot in February. So February is a pretty bleak looking month in the UK anyway. But you've got all these bare trees, and you've got the mud and sort of the grey colour palette to a lot of the story, and it just sets the scene beautifully. It's sort of foreboding and sinister, and as soon as you start watching this story, which incidentally we there's no preamble to this one, the adventure gets straight on. The Doctor and the companions are just flung straight in, but things build up, and you know something bad is going to happen, and then when it comes to the moment when Willa's grandmother and the other non-witches, I mean, the word witches, but the other people who were drowned as witches, have risen from their graves, and then it is really, really, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't find the word. I can't find sufficient word I'm looking for, but it really grabs you. You go, yeah, now that's what we've been waiting for. And the story keeps building and building, and we keep wondering what is Becca up to? Why is she doing all the evil things she is doing? And when the answer comes, it is quite surprising. Now, for my money, maybe the last 5-6 minutes of this story, it takes a little bit of a downturn. I'm not as impressed with the aliens in their sort of natural mud form, sort of that weird tendril with a face, which is supposed to be the king of the aliens. That's not so good, but that's just a small fault. Overall, I really like this story, and I think upon today's watching, it's gone up in my estimation. It was never low, but it's gone up a fair bit. And I'm looking forward to rewatching more stories from Jodie's first season, which actually, Jodie's first season puts me in mind in some ways of William Hartnell's second season. It's sort of an era of Doctor Who, both eras of Doctor Who, where suddenly anything seems possible. You could go absolutely anywhere, do absolutely anything. It seems to be no limits. I mean, in William Hartnell's second season, this was due to the fact the production team then had just realised that the show was a hit. They could take chances, do more daring things than the dared dream of in the first season. In this case, it's the feeling that anything could happen is more a leap of faith on the part of the show than Chris Chibnall, who's decided that there are no limits for the show. If it can be imagined, it can be done. I mean, there are some things I do have issues with Chris Chibnall, but I certainly can't fault his imagination. It's quite daring, some of the things he's done, and not least casting Jodie Whittaker, which frankly we should all be very grateful for him for. Anyway, I'll take the Doctor out of my hat now. She's done well to balance that, because it's now the time when we find out what I'll be watching next. So here we go. I've got the number wheel there. It's hard to catch the right angle to show you this wheel, but anyway. Oh, that's because the wheel's not showing for some reason, but hopefully it'll still spin. I've got 1 to 293 on the wheel, so we shall spin and see what happens. Well, it's still clicking away, even if the wheel's not showing softly. And we have... Oh dear. Well, that's good, isn't it? It's just showing us blank. I think I might have to do that again, because that didn't... Oh. Now the wheel has appeared. Okay. We'll try again. That was a false result. It didn't show me a number that time, so we'll not count that one. Now we've got the wheel up, we'll try again. Now please give me a number this time. I don't want another blooper. Okay, we've now actually got a number. That is 106. So I'll go down and look at my list and see what 106 is. It's certainly going to be 20th century. But... Oh, lovely, lovely. Okay. We've got our first bit of Tom Baker. So next time, please join me when I'll be talking about The Creature from the Pit. Bye for now. Oh, before I go, I should have said bye then, I should also say, please like, please subscribe, please tell your friends, please tell my friends. And now I can say bye. Bye!